Hi, good morning. My name is Juan Diego Vázquez Guerra, and today I will speak about the Cold War. What was? The Cold War is a term what describes the tense relations between the United States and the Soviet Union between 1945 and 1989. The most characteristic features between the period from 1948 to 1955 progressively weakening. First, the OTAN. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a political military alliance created during the Cold War in 1949 and is based on mutual military support to members' countries in the event of aggressions by third parties. The Pact of Warsaw. The Treaty of Friendship, Collaboration and Mutual Assistance, better known as the Warsaw Pact by the city in which it was signed, was a military cooperation agreement signed on May 14, 1945 by the countries of the Eastern Bloc, designed under the leadership of the Union Soviet Socialist Republics. Its express objective was to counter the threat of the OTAN. The pact was dissolved on July 1st in 1991. Background. First, each of the powers had an opposing economic model, which they tried to expand to the rest of the countries. Second, competition for natural resources. Third, expand your areas of influence. The acquisition of atomic weapons by the Americans alerted the Soviets. Despite the end of the war, deep down, neither of the two countries wanted to enter another war. There were several reasons why the two great powers collided, not only because of their economic power, but because of their influence of the rest of the world. The Marshall Plan control for United States. The Marshall Plan consisted of an economic recovery program organized by the United States for the reconstruction of European countries after the war. The United States only asked for a little control on their part, while Europe recovered its economic level. Communist ideology. The Soviet Union wanted to spread that message throughout the world that there was no private property, everything belonged to everyone and everyone was treated equally. But that way of life the United States did not like and it caught his attention. Suspicions. The Soviet Union witnessed how the United States was buying atomic weapons. This alerted them. Since there was this question, why or what would they need them for after the war? They feared the attack of the other country until on the points of suspecting that bases were behind styled in the Western Europe. These were the main reasons for the Cold War the unjustified suspicions, and the why of the life of each other. Because of this, post-communism and anti-communism groups were created. Parallel cases to the Cold War. First, crisis in Berlin, 1961. Second, the Arab-Israeli War, 1967 to 1973. Third, the Cuban Missile Crisis, October 1962. The Berlin Crisis was the last great European political military incident of the Cold War about the military occupation in the German capital, Berlin. It was provoked by the Soviet Union demanding the withdrawal of the Western armed forces from West Berlin. In conclude with the construction of the Berlin Wall that divided the city in two, East Berlin and West Berlin. The Israeli-Arab War, also known as the Six-Day War, that was in 1967. The Egyptian leader Gamal Abdel Nasser asked the United Nations to withdraw the Blue Helmets from Gaza, Sinai, the island of Tyran, and Sanafir. Request of the UNO, he asserted Ebin Town that meant giving up his role as an interposer. In the 6 days that this war lasted, Israel conquered the Gaza Strip, Jordan, Jerusalem, the Sinai Peninsula, and the Golan Heights. This is Gamal Abdel Nasser. He was an Egyptian military and statesman, and the main Arab political leader of this time. The crisis of Cuban missiles. This is how the conflict between the United States, the Soviet Union, and Cuba in October 1962 escalated, generated as a result of the discovery by the United States of Soviet medium-range nuclear missile bases in Cuban territory. In Russia, it is called the Caribbean Crisis, while in Cuba it is called the October Crisis. It was one of the biggest crises along with the Berlin blockade. The end of the crisis. Ultimately, on November 20, the US government ended its naval patrols around Cuba, and 2 days later the Soviet Prime Minister Anastas Mikoyan visited Havana, informing the Castro regime that the military presence would be present in Cuba, but only by providing conventional weapons, and this withdrawing all nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles from the islands. Consequence. First, the United States and the Soviet Union accumulate large arsenal of atomic weapons and ballistic missiles. Second, it went as far as the destruction conflicts in Vietnam and Korea. Third, the communism collapsed. 4. The Baltic Sea states and some former Soviet republics achieved independence. Show here a map of the countries that became independent from the Soviet Union. And this is a picture, a graphic about the number of nuclear weapons from United States and the URSS in the history. Conclusion. To conclude my work, I want to emphasize the importance and impact that the Cold War and on world societies, not only at the time, but also in future one. We realize that the World War is the reasons for modernization in different areas of society. Reflecting, we realize that a war can easily develop today. Some countries have a lot of power and do not know limits. The most important thing is the learning gained from this crisis. I think the World War is still going on, but now from the more economic and technological ambits.